So hello and welcome. And now I will go over internal family systems basics. I will go over the basics of this modality. So I would like to start with mentioning that according to IFS, Internal Family Systems Therapy, multiplicity of the mind is something that is normal and something that is useful. And we all have these different parts in our systems. And it can be useful, it can be healthy to have these multiple parts in our systems. So then you can naturally ask a question, okay, so if it's something that is normal and it's healthy, then why do we go to therapy? Why do we work with these parts? And the answer would be that these parts often become extreme. They become, their emotions become extreme, their emotional reactions become extreme, their opinions become extreme. And that's why we work with them and we help these parts address these extreme feelings and behaviors. And eventually we try to liberate them from these extreme roles and we try to get to know them and help them unburden. The concept of parts is not ingrained in our Western culture. Then we tend to identify with our emotions and we tend to perceive our personality traits as how the God intended it. So instead of looking at parts as part of me is angry because, for instance, I was not allowed to set boundaries in my early childhood years, we tend to look at it as I'm an angry person or I'm an anxious person without putting it in the context and perhaps asking, why am I an angry person? What happened to me? What I believe is the key moment in IFS therapy is when we realize that our parts are not our enemies, but they are wounded parts that need our help and that need our understanding. And sometimes you can say it might be easier to like parts, for instance, that are manager-like and that get things done, that are liked in the society. But the whole point is to like and appreciate also the work of the parts that we despise, that we really don't like, that create problems in our lives. And this can be very healing in IFS therapy, to like these parts as well. So, and lastly, I would like to talk about self-energy. I already talked a little bit about parts, and I will create a separate video about parts. What are they? How can we recognize them? But now I would like to also talk about self-energy a little bit. And the self-energy is the deepest essence of every person, the wise and compassionate leader that is able to heal the system. We can also recognize self-energy by asking, for instance, who is there when parts are not active? Or the part of you who that doesn't come and go. And we can also recognize the self-energy when we recognize qualities like kindness, compassion, or curiosity. So this is also a self-energy. And from this kindness, curiosity, compassion, we are approaching the parts. We are creating the relationship with parts. Yeah, and this can be very healing to approach parts with kindness and compassion instead of the usual judgment and criticism.